Yes, my mother, June in October 2012, sustained a heart attack at the age of 86. And combining that with her diagnosis of Alzheimer's, it was decided that it was unsafe for her to return to her home. As a consequence, she was moved into aged care and is now aged 94. I noticed after a couple of years that there was no outgoing calls. And that then got me a bit concerned. And I discovered she couldn't use a traditional phone. So I looked online, or I started looking around, and I discovered an advertisement, and I found a video phone, and it was ideal for her. Mum couldn't hold a phone and she couldn't dial. She'd lost that ability. And with the video phone, it meant that we could see buttons on the screen with the names of the people that she would normally be in regular contact with. And all she needed to do was touch the screen. She didn't need to have any special skills in using computers. Sometimes she'd call me 10 times in one day. What happened was that the video phone computer screen, which is 15-inch screen, sits on a table at the end of her bed. And whenever she's in the chair, which is right next to it, whenever the screen goes to sleep, she worked out that by touching the screen, it wakes up again. And when she touched it, she used to touch the top left corner, which is where my button was. So every time she touched it, it'd just ring me again. Missed calls, but I'd always return them eventually. Look, I don't speak to each of the members, but I encourage them very much to be involved. I do know that her eldest granddaughter speaks to her reasonably regularly. My brother does. He's interstate. And she even has a friend who is 96 who's recently connected up on this with her and with assistance. And she speaks to Mum very regularly. She used to visit her every week when she was in there. Yeah, and it's like a virtual meeting. It's the meeting you can have when you can't physically be there. At least they can see you and you see expression. Yeah, well, we'd pre-arranged it, but it was, of course, with time difference. One morning at 6:30 a.m., my mobile phone went off, and I picked it up, and it was Mum. And so we had a two-way communication from her video phone to my mobile phone. She could see me, I could see her, and we were on opposite sides of the world.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. That's so fantastic. Have you noticed a difference in your mum since she's been using the video phone?
Absolutely. I believe that her general well-being has improved since she's had the video phone, because she's got regular communication both with and from friends and family. In fact, one of my nieces, my eldest niece, has remarked to me, quote, "Grandma seems better since having the video phone." That was her own words. That wasn't coming from me. That was another party. And it made me feel good, because I thought, well, that's the reason we got this, was to reduce or eliminate her being isolated and hence having a positive effect on her health. Yes, well, because I couldn't visit there because we were outside the 5-kilometre ring of steel, and so we weren't allowed to go there. And I was effectively locked out of there physically for, well, initially for about 3 months. Then we had a small window of opportunity where we visited 3 or 4 times. Then it went into total lockdown again. But on each occasion, we would speak at least weekly, if not more frequently, just myself. And then I've, as I said, I've had my brother engaged, one of Mum's best friends engaged, my niece, another niece, and a cousin of mine who's into her 70s now, but she adores Mum. And she rang me one day and she said, "I really want to speak with Jen." So I got her connected up on this quite simply, and I know she regularly contacts Mum now. Well, the video phone itself is simple to set up, and the team where I purchased it were very helpful. It only takes a few minutes. It's not a complicated system. You don't need to have any computer skills. They can either walk you through it or they can do it for you. And to add people, is very simple. All I do is ring them, give them a mobile number and an email address, and they do the rest, and it's all done. And a new button appears on the screen each time for each new person.
Fantastic.
So this system is very simple to use and is affordable with unlimited use worldwide. Talk to someone that's got it for a start. I've actually had a number of people at Mum's aged care come into her room and actually watch me use it, so they can get to see how simple it is. I'd be more than happy, anyone that out our way, if they want to ring me, I'd be more than happy to help them. But it is so simple, and the people who set it up for me are very, very easy to deal with. And as I say, it's so simple that you don't need to have the skills. Well, I encourage you to ring it to hit the other parts of the screen instead of the top left side where my button is all the time. But certainly, communication is a very important thing in life generally, and more so when people are in aged care, where they're predominantly could be on their own a fair amount of the day, with the exception of the staff who are there. But it's a way, particularly when we go into situations that we've just experienced with COVID-19, that being able to communicate regularly is just so important for Mum.